Hey everyone, it's Virgil back in another video, and today I'm showcasing another Queen 12 free-to-play speed comp, about 2 minutes. It's really exciting, really unique characters used in this one, and I am excited to showcase it for you. Now, I did get inspiration from a couple of people in my Discord, as well as my own testing, so I will mention those as we're going through, but let's jump right into it and showcase the comp, the gear, and everything. Let's go. So here we are, this is the Queen 12 comp. Now, the first thing I really quickly want to mention is that Virgil is not free to play in regards to you cannot earn him or suffuse him or something like that. You can easily replace Virgil with Valuk, but I do not actually have Valuk on my main account built. I plan on building him soon, so you could easily replace Virgil here with Valuk, and it'll actually be more consistent. The reason why we're running Virgil is because he can take that massive chunk of the Queen's HP, and you'll see that later on. So what do we have here? Well, we have the Virgil, as I mentioned. We have Zatlux, we have Santis, and we have Rujago. So I did mention that I did take some inspiration. One person by the name of Epic Nightmare was using Freya, and I did initially think that that was the way I was going to go about this. And I decided on going with Rujago because someone else in my Discord messaged me saying that they were using Rujago. And for those of you that don't know, Freya is used for the Santis synthesis. And Rujago here is actually farmable on the campaign, even though he's also used for the Santis synthesis. He's just farmable, so he's much more capable to be built while also getting the Ascension 5 Santis, which is both really necessary for this comp if you want it to be quick. Now, as I mentioned, we have Rujago in here for the unhealable and the attack down, which helps with survivability. We have Virgil in here to take massive chunks of HP from the boss, as well as the silence and the dispel comes in very handy. Zatlux to clear the waves, and Santis to just do all the damage, apply the poisons, and do all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and jump into the gear here. So the first person I want to go over is Zatlux here, and Zatlux is at 169 speed. He wants to go first in your turn order so that you shave off all the seconds that all the characters could take up by going. He's got 3.6k attack almost, 317% crit damage, maxed out crit rate, and decent tanky stats. The tankier stats don't really matter too much. He can die, it's no big deal. He doesn't have any specific sets or anything like that. The stats here, really all you need to know is that you need to be able to clear the queen waves while also going first. So basically one-shotting the queen waves. Now, 3.6k attack and 317% crit damage is one way to do it. You could also do like 4k attack and 260% crit damage, 270% crit damage. It really just depends on what your stat makeup is. But this is my Zatlux, and this one's slightly overgeared, I believe. So you can go a little bit less. Let's jump into the next one. So the next person up is going to be Santis here, and Santis has 18k HP, 1300 defense, and 116% focus. Also, she's going second. It doesn't necessarily matter too much if she's going second or third. Optimally, actually, Virgil would go second so that he has another chance to clear off the buffs on the queen, but this works completely fine. Note that she is Ascension 5, and you will need Ascension 5 for this to be consistent as well as consistently quick. And one other thing is that she is running a revival set, and revival set's super important. Unless you have an insane cursed set where she has an insane amount of HP and defense, you really want to run a revival set. As well as, it's actually helpful to run a +9 weapon here to make sure she has lower attack than Virgil or than Valuk. If you're running Valuk, either one, you're definitely going to want Valuk to have higher attack than Santis, or Virgil to have higher attack than Santis, so she does not tank the stun from the queen after Zatlux died. You also do not want the stun on Rujago at all, because if he does take the stun, you are going to lose because they're going to apply that unhealable, or he's not going to be able to apply the unhealable, and the queen's going to heal, and it's going to take forever, or actually just lose. So we're going to jump into the next one here. So the next one is going to be Virgil, and as you can see, he's got a slightly more attack than Santis with 1652, almost 17k HP, almost 1400 defense, 154 speed, and 81% focus. You do want high focus on Virgil as well as Santis. You're going to want some tankier stats, and you actually want him to go before Santis if possible. As I mentioned, because he has a basic that dispels, which is quite nice if you're able to get him in front. That way, there's no chance of Santis resisting any or the queen rather resisting any Santis debuffs or anything like that. One other thing to note is that he is running the revival set. Again, very important for the innate survivability of this team. I've not been able to get it to work with curse set personally, because curse set just doesn't have quite enough stats for me. I may be able to do it with a +15 all the pieces here, but I definitely do not want to do that. That's a large investment for a short, time reduction for my account at least. One other thing to note is that you do not need Ascension 4 or even Ascension 2 on Virgil. It helps because it speeds up the runs, but as I said, you could run Valuk here and it'll be almost as fast oftentimes actually faster overall in the 10 runs, but I just wanted to showcase Virgil because he's cool, and I do not have Luke built on my main account. Let's jump into the last one here. So here is Rujago here, and this one's the unique one of this comp. I think very, very cool. He's got 18k HP, 1600 defense, 143 speed, and I did want to mention that all the other characters need to go before the queen goes. This character specifically needs to go before the ads, but after the queen boss. Why? Well, the queen will go, and then Rujago will place the unhealable. That way the unhealable doesn't just take a turn off from the queen going, because really what we're trying to avoid the queen healing from is the right ad. So we want him to go before the right ad goes, but we want the buff to last, or the debuff rather, to last as long as possible. So just after the queen boss. Now, I do want to mention that this idea came to me from Epic Nightmare and the other person that messaged me on Discord. Very, very, very cool theory crafting from you two. So thank you for the advice here, and I definitely want to use it with Rujago here. I think it's going to be excellent. Now, as I mentioned the stats there, you also want the focus to make sure you're landing the unhealable and the attack down. Very, very important that you're going to be doing that. And I just want to briefly mention some of the skills and why this kind of works. When he's getting attacked on Rujago, he's going to get that attack down, so it's going to make your whole team essentially more tanky, as well as being able to apply the unhealable and attack down on the ultimate here. And you're just going to go ahead and smack that unhealable on the boss so you can go focus on the boss 100%. The other thing with Virgil, I don't think I mentioned, and that is one of his skills that's super important, and that's the Arcane Sanction. The Arcane Sanction is going to do 20% of the target's max HP if you happen to land it. The Ascension 2 doubles the chance that it has it to land, which is really, really nice, but it's not necessary at all. So this takes massive chunks of the queen's HP if you happen to land it. The other thing is, because Rujago's cooldown is a 3-turn cooldown, it's actually nice to keep Virgil's skills on, because the silence can actually make up if the run goes a little longer, because Virgil doesn't apply the Arcane Sanctions to apply silence to everyone. Now, if you are using Valuk, as I mentioned, you're just going to turn Valuk's skills off, and then you can keep Santis' skills on, because she can extend all the poisons from Valuk as well as herself. You could also run her with basic only. Either way really works. It's not really too complicated with that one. So let's go ahead and jump into the queen run itself and showcase this really, really cool comp here. All right, here we are. We're at Queen 12, and I just want to mention the spells really quickly. We're going to be running Water Prison and Gaia's Renewal for extra survivability for the comp. And I also want to mention a couple replacements for both Virgil and for Rujago here. Santis is pretty much irreplaceable. Zatlix can be replaced with someone like Nathalia with Guard Set to clear out the waves. If you have someone that can just clear out the waves, they can be used. Now, Virgil can be replaced with Valuk. It's the more free-to-play option. You can run about a 2-minute 20 to 2-minute 40-second average in a 10 run with Valuk. It is variable a little bit because he has a chance to land poisons. Virgil here is going to run about a 1-minute 40 to 3-minute 10-second run because of how random his Arcane Sanction debuff is, and we'll go over that in just a second when we see it in the run. The third person I want to mention is Marion Shadowblood. If you do have Ascension 2 on her, she's going to be joint attacking all the time and applying so much true damage to the boss. It's very, very nice to have her and be really, really quick. Now, the other two replacements for Rujago here is Hewlins, as we've all seen and loved with the recent free-to-play Queen comps. He has that no positive effects and the unhealable. The only problem with Hewlins is that he's an 80% chance to land the unhealable. So if you do not land the unhealable like 2, 3, 4 times in a row, it starts to be really, really dangerous, and you can actually fail sometimes. With this comp, I have not failed. I've run up 40, 50 runs. You can also run Freya in Rujago's spot. Remember, all three of those characters should be run right after the Queen boss goes. Not before, but right after. It gives a little bit buffer from the unhealable on the right ad, and it would be much, much more consistent than if you were having them go in front of it. So let's go ahead and run and see what we're going to be able to do with this comp. So here we are. We're going to go ahead and enter the battle here. And first things first, Zatlix is going to clear out the waves. If you can't have Zatlix clear out the waves, you probably shouldn't be building out this comp at all. Definitely going to get some better gear for Zatlix to clear out the waves. Second thing is Virgil's skills are on, Santa's skills are off. Virgil's skills on super helpful because the silence sometimes prevents the right ad from healing when the unhealable's down, which is nice, as well as the left ad can apply joint attack. Now, really what we're hoping for from Virgil here is that he's going to apply his Arcane Sanction debuff. He has a 40% chance to land it whenever a character on the enemy team takes a turn at the end of their turn. So it is decently high chance in regards to a whole queen run. Usually the queen boss takes anywhere from 5, 6 to 10, 11 turns. And so if you get really unlucky and she never lands, or he never gets an Arcane Sanction debuff on the Queen boss, it'll take forever. But if you do get lucky and he lands it, every single time, the Queen can die extremely, extremely quickly. So it's really just about the inconsistent luck in regards to Virgil. The other point about Arcane Sanction is you need to make sure that he's landing it right before the Queen boss actually uses a skill rather than a basic ability. Otherwise, it's not going to do the 20% max HP that we want it to do. We did land it here at the top. You could see this little buff that looks like no positive effects, or debuff rather, and it's not going to do any damage to her right now because she's using the basic ability. We need her to use one of her skills, her actual skills, and you can see on the right-hand side, the Arcane Sanctions on one of the crabs as well. And you can see there that they didn't take any damage because they just basicked. So this is the real problem with Virgil in getting the inconsistent runs. We had the Queen boss go a total of 5 times at this point, and we've landed 1 stack of Arcane Sanction, which is very, very unlucky. But you can see there, we just did 13k to the right ad because of that Arcane Sanction debuff, and the crab has not healed between the unhealable as well as the silences from everyone. Now, we are getting Virgil stunned at this point, so we are going to have less chance to silence the right ad. So that is a little unfortunate. We did land another Arcane Sanction debuff on the Queen boss, which is quite nice. So now we're really getting to the home stretch. We really just want to finish off the battle. But unfortunately, because Virgil's stunned, we may get an unlucky heal coming in. Looks like Rujago's going to go ahead and block that with the unhealable. And so we're going to end up with a slightly above average time, or rather below average time, with about 2 minutes, I think 40 seconds here. It looks like to me maybe 2 minutes 50 seconds. I'm not quite sure. We'll see. Right here looks like it's 2 minutes 40 seconds on the run. So you can see that it's a decent run, but that's actually one of the longer runs that I've had with Virgil. We landed 2 stacks of Arcane Sanction there, which is a little unfortunate when we had the Queen boss go, I think, like 8 times. So that number should probably be about 3 to 4 on average, more like 3 on average, which would save a ton, about 10 to 15 seconds off of our run, which puts us about the 2 minute 25, 2 minute 30 range. Let's see if I can go ahead and run this another time and see if I can get you a better time in regards to the Virgil comp here. So we're nearing the end of this run. We're about 24%. You can see there the Arcane Sanction just smacked the Queen boss again for that massive damage number. Let's see how fast this run was. I wasn't quite paying attention as closely as I was the last run. Okay, there you go. You can see 2 minutes 10 seconds. That's above average run. As I said, about 2 minutes 20, 2 minutes 30 seconds is about average for this comp. If you're landing these Arcane Sanctions, you have the Ascension 2 on Virgil. That is important if you want the faster times with the Virgil comp. Now, again, as I mentioned, Marion, Shadowblood, Valuk, those are the ways to go if you want those consistent runs. And they are honestly a little easier to build than this comp. But 2 minutes 10 seconds down to 1 minute 40 seconds is really, really good for a no Gengelo comp. Very, very happy with that for Queen 12. And thank you again to Epic Nightmare and the person I mentioned on Discord. I cannot remember the name right now, and I could not find the message. But thank you again for kind of letting me in on your little theory craft about running the Rujago and the characters after the boss. I don't know why I hadn't thought about it before. It makes complete sense, and it's absolutely going to increase your consistency for your runs. Same thing with Hulins and characters like that. So let me know what you all think. Let me know if this is going to be something that you're going to be building out in the comments down below. And I will definitely be running this comp for the future because 2 minutes 10 seconds is very, very fast compared to what I was running before, which is about 4 minutes 30. So I'm happy with my comp specifically. So that'll be it for this video, and I will see you for the next one.